So, this is Mark Wolin, and he is the king of the modern movie trailer. Him, along with his company Mark Wolin and Associates, are responsible for the marketing campaigns behind dozens of the biggest movies of the last 25 years or so. The trailers for Schindler's List, The Big Lebowski, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Lost in Translation, all of these were done by Mark and his team. Over the years, this company's reputation has only improved. They make the ads for award-winning movies, and these ads win awards themselves, too. You see, making a good movie trailer is an art form. You want the audience to get a gist for the story without giving too much away, but at the same time, you've got to leave them wanting more without being too ambiguous. Really, the main goal of the producers, writers, editors, and graphic designers at Mark's firm is to make the viewer feel something. Within just a couple of minutes, or sometimes just 30 seconds, you have to leave a mark on whoever's watching your trailer, and that's much easier said than done. Mark Wolin and his team have to pique your interest enough that 1, this movie will stay on your mind, and 2, when it premieres, you will spend your money to go out and see that movie. This is a tricky concept, and to pull it off, you have to be extremely creative, intelligent, and more than anything, innovative. While there are many elements of what makes up a movie trailer, the pacing, the story, graphics, and voiceover, etc., I'm here today to talk about movie trailer music. For recent examples by Mark Wolin, we can look at his use of a German cover of I'm a Believer in the trailer for Jojo Rabbit. Hearing that iconic instrumental from the Monkees, but then getting lyrics sung in German, is a joke in itself. The American audience viewing this trailer is about to sing along, but then they get the rug pulled out from under them. This movie includes some popular comedians doing goofy German accents, and the film as a whole is very playful, so this choice of an upbeat, fun song that bridges the gap between German and English works perfectly. Another example is the trailer for Marriage Story, which starts like this.
What I love about Nicole.
Loving you.
For those unaware, Marriage Story is a film about two people that really do care about one another, but it focuses on their divorce. Throughout the movie, we see how deep this couple's bond was and still maybe is, but things are coming to a very bitter and messy end. What better way to emphasize these confusing, deeply rooted emotions than with Otis Redding's I've Been Loving You Too Long? Otis isn't just singing, he is pleading for his lover to take him back as their relationship is falling apart. It's a soulful track that coincides with the intense, heartbreaking feelings that come with divorce, and also the horns on this song make for great times to cut during the trailer. For more abstract examples, we have the serene strings in the trailer for NYMPHOMANIAC that abruptly transition to heavy metal, thus showing you the drastic changes in tone throughout the film.
I know that. What?
We've got the Ladies of Spring Breakers singing an a cappella version of Baby One More Time, which I think is a bit of a meta choice. Instead of Mark choosing a song to finish out the trailer, the cast is gonna close out the trailer themselves. Kinda gives you the idea that this isn't your average movie.
Loneliness is killing me,
And for an incredible example, we can turn to the trailer for A Serious Man, where our protagonist's head is rhythmically being slammed against a chalkboard to the beat of the trailer. For me, this shows the dark humor of the Coen brothers and the introverted paranoia that surrounds this movie. As you can see, music can be a critical tool in making a top-notch trailer. Maybe you're using a popular song to induce a certain feeling, or perhaps your movie trailer music is unique enough to be a talking point of its own. As in, somebody might not usually be interested in this kind of movie, but the trailer is just that good that it gets them to buy a ticket. And with that being said, I now bring you the story of my favorite movie trailer of all time. One that uses a well-known song to get the audience invested, but it's less about what song gets used and more how. In 2010, Mark Wolin was contacted to make a trailer for David Fincher's The Social Network, based on a true storytelling of Mark Zuckerberg, the creation of Facebook, and the legal battles that followed. Before the release of the film, the press was questioning how this movie could work. Facebook wasn't exactly the evil empire that it is now, it was just that site where you keep in touch with old friends and relatives, nothing too fascinating. And Mark Wolin, the guy that had to make a trailer for this movie, was also questioning what kind of tone it would have. It's made by the same guy that did Fight Club, Seven, and Zodiac. It has to be interesting, right? But what kind of angle will it take? Coincidentally, a big part of what makes The Social Network tick is something that Wolin had been struggling with at the time: loneliness. With social media rapidly growing in popularity and in necessity for day-to-day life, feeling so connected to your phone and the internet made Wolin question his connection to life itself. A common artistic outlook on the future is a reliance on stuff like that. On the surface, it brings you closer to life, but in reality, it's only pulling you away. Think of critiques of a technology-driven future like OK Computer by Radiohead and Father John Misty's Pure Comedy. And speaking of Radiohead, around this time that Mark Wolin was concerned about the loneliness of the future and questioning how he would make his trailer for The Social Network, he remembered a song that brought those two worlds together, a 2001 live recording of Radiohead's Creep, sung by a 200-member women's choir from Belgium. Without even seeing the final cut of the film, Wolin captured the essence of The Social Network brilliantly with this choice of song for the trailer. In the movie, Mark Zuckerberg is shown as being an emotionally distant genius that puts on a rough exterior. He's incredibly successful, but seems uncomfortable in most social interactions. He becomes the youngest billionaire in the world after building a site based on social networking, but he himself seems very alone. The original version of Radiohead's Creep seems like it would cover these themes pretty well. When You Were Here Before, Couldn't Look You in the Eye could be a reference to Mark's social awkwardness. I Want a Perfect Body, I Want a Perfect Soul, I Want You to Notice When I'm Not Around would fit with the motif surrounding Mark's ex-girlfriend Erica and how he continues to seek approval from her throughout the film. And more than anything, I think the recurring lines of I don't belong here coincide with the cold, lifeless ideals of the future that I brought up before. He's invented a site where hundreds of millions of people can quote-unquote connect with each other online, but are those connections authentic or faker than any form of communication at all? As the socially inept creator of the world's biggest social network, I'm sure he's questioned his place in the world once or twice before. But the problem with Radiohead's original version is that it might feel a bit too on the nose. Thom Yorke's delivery is angry and spiteful, the guitars are thrashing, and that just doesn't seem to fit the movie in my opinion. Mark lashes out at people constantly, sure. It seems like he has a superiority complex, so he does like to remind people of his achievements and how he's more successful than them, but I don't think that he's truly angry inside. He's confused, alone, and misunderstood. So that's why this all-women's choir version of Creep is so special. It has the lyrics to match the story beat by beat, and it fits musically too. The choir sounds like the light from your computer screen looks. There's something beautiful about the simplicity, but it's also empty. There are no flaws in the blank white lights of your computer screen, but that perfection is eerie. Everything seems fine on the outside, but there's something darker and more complicated underneath. And that's how Wolin's trailer came to be. With the all-women's choir version of Creep in the background, we get about 50 seconds that almost plays like a commercial for Facebook. It seems very ordinary, and then we get the cold, empty face of Jesse Eisenberg's Mark Zuckerberg. As the choir grows louder and more intense, the story of The Social Network begins to unfold, you get a better idea of what the movie's about, and it's the best movie trailer I've ever seen. Mark Wolin's usage of that slow, angelic cover of a popular song that everybody knows was genius. The audience gets a sense of familiarity from the lyrics, but the juxtaposition between the dark phrases and these beautiful harmonizing vocals is thought-provoking. The ability to garner a sense of uneasiness through these conflicting emotions was a legitimate artistic masterclass. It was a special once-in-a-lifetime move, until this perfect 10 out of 10 movie trailer ruined countless movie trailers going forward. You see, Hollywood is a place of trends. If something proves successful, you're gonna see other people take that same idea and run with it, except, you know, it loses that special, unique, once-in-a-lifetime flavor every time someone does the same thing. Remember when I described how Radiohead's Creep would have been too on the nose, so the choir version made more sense? Every other movie trailer maker in Hollywood saw that concept and said, Okay, so you're telling me I can take the most obvious song that would fit the general plot of my movie, and then it's gonna look artistic and cool if I use a slower cover version of it for my trailer? Without further ado, here is a very small sample of examples of this happening since Mark Wolyn's trailer premiered in 2010. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This for Wrath of the Titans, Love is Blindness for The Great Gatsby, Happy Together also for The Great Gatsby, Everybody Wants to Rule the World for Dracula Untold, She for Gone Girl, Crazy for Birdman, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood also for Birdman, Black Hole Sun for A Walk Among the Tombstones, Crazy in Love for 50 Shades of Grey, Knockin' on Heaven's Door for Black Hat, I've Got No Strings for Age of Ultron, California Dreamin' for San Andreas, and truly, there are so many more. With all of these examples and any other that you can find, it's always the same thing. Oh, it's a remake of the Blair Witch Project where people are getting stalked in the woods? How about Every Breath You Take? Because, like, you know. Or, oh, it's a movie that has the Joker in it? How about the song, I Started a Joke? Because he's the Joker. I know I'm not the only one that has hated hearing these songs in movie trailers for about a decade, but even worse, they're in the movies themselves now too. Like every other trend in Hollywood, once they pick something, they really do it to death. And I think what makes me so upset about this, and the reason why I'm finally making a video about it, is that Mark Wolyn's original genius idea transformed into our culture's obsession with nostalgia and intertextuality. 90% of films that get greenlit these days are reboots or sequels of reboots. You get the gist. Audiences nationwide keep eating up the same unoriginal movies that Hollywood keeps serving for us, which is a huge problem itself, but it's incredibly dark to me that we can't even have original music in movie trailers anymore. I don't know, I guess when I'm feeling like this, I just think it's important to remind ourselves that there will always be ground shakers and game changers within any medium of art. Take any trend in Hollywood that made going to the movies feel boring and recycled. All the shaky cam, found footage horror movies, those years when everybody started color grading blues and oranges until it seemed like a joke, how every composer started using those blah sounds. When you're in the middle of those trends, it feels never ending. Art is dead and we're never gonna recover, all that stuff. But just remember that it took a revolutionary to start these trends in the first place. There was the original shaky cam found footage horror movie, the OG digital color graded film, and the reason why everybody loved those stupid scores. So, sure, the originality of music in movie trailers might seem dead right now, but somebody's bound to shake things up and start the next big trend eventually. Hey, thank you for watching that video. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at WrenchIHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.